Welcome to 9 Times. This time I'm participating in an art challenge put on by Boylai Hobby Time. The community voted for a pirate-themed prompt, so that's what I'll be designing today. If you've never seen his channel, which I doubt, I have it linked in the description. You have to check it out. Now, I don't make dioramas, but the challenge description says it can be any medium, which I guess includes digital art. Okay, so pirates. I knew very early on that I wanted it to be a flying pirate ship, but I didn't want it to be a blimp. A blimp doesn't seem to fit in the world I've built so far. So how's it gonna float? I'll get to that in just a second. As you can see here, I had to just brainstorm and mess around with some ideas first. I know that second one looks like a blimp, and I just said I'm not gonna do a blimp, but I was scribbling down everything that popped into my head. On my fourth try, I got something I like the look of. For some reason, after that initial sketch, I became obsessed with measuring out the many stacked decks above the main deck. But that did allow me to have some fun fleshing out what those various floors might look like from above. When those were made and moved to the side, I made a cleaner profile view of the decks and moved it to a new document to start rendering the whole sketch. And I went for more of a parchment looking paper color so the white blueprints on the right could stand out a bit more. First I'll start by blocking in the shapes and get into explaining the tech. So years ago, when I was maybe 15 or 16, I'm 23 now by the way, I had to solve the problem of wanting floating vehicles in this world, but keeping it kind of low-tech at the same time. Blimps could have been a pretty obvious solution, but I don't know, I just feel like they're a tad overused. Not that I don't think they're cool, I just always wanted my stuff to look different. The problem is, the idea I came up with defied physics a little too much. Now I know it's a fantasy world, and I can do whatever I want, technically, but it was to the point where it was breaking my suspension of disbelief for my own world, which isn't good. So, a friend and I were talking it over, and he brought up the idea of making it similar to a submarine, but using air instead of water. So this is how this ship works. It contains materials from a special plant, and packs them into these fancy capsules here. When the capsules are closed, nothing happens. But when they're opened up, the plant's exposure to the atmosphere causes it to float. So if you have a lot of this stuff, it can lift a lot of weight. Let's say you want to gain altitude as fast as you can. You would simply open up all of the capsules and off you go. But if you want a slower, safer ascent, keep a few of them closed. There's also a ratio of closed capsules to open ones that allows it to maintain whatever altitude the captain desires. To get this thing actually moving somewhere, I added a bunch of kite-like sails. Most supported by masts and wires, but the front ones are only attached by wires. After that was done, I decided the current floating capsules were a bit overkill, so I opted for a simpler alternative. I didn't do the math to figure out how to space these things out this time, and just decided to reactivate my suspension of disbelief right here. Just believe me when I say this thing can float. Hopefully the blue sky background helps to get that across. This video is part 1 of 2, and next week I'll be diving into a few more details, exploring things like the interior, some of the crew, the weapons the ship uses, and just fleshing out the whole concept overall. I really appreciate you watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Catch you later.